This is Sebastian from Death from Above 1979, and we're coming to Australia in April, the 22nd in Brisbane, 23rd in Adelaide, 25th in Melbourne, and 26th in Sydney. So coming up soon.
Fantastic, Sebastian. Thanks for joining us on Maple Syrup Day.
Yeah, no kidding.
Does your Sabre Death from Above 1979 return to Australia for the first time since 2011 next month for the 20th anniversary tour of your oldest album, You're a Woman, I'm a Machine. Like, not long to go now, bro. Are you packed and ready to go?
Not quite yet. I've got a lot of stuff to do before I get on that flight, that eternal flight.
True. If my arithmetic is correct, mate, that's been 14 years since you last visited Australia. So did somebody offend you last time, or what happened?
Well, you guys are, by nature offensive, so it should be surprising to you. It's the larrikin and the bogans, they got to us.
So what's actually changed with the band in that period, if anything?
Well, when we were last there, we were sorry, I'm just gonna jump into my studio here. We had just started playing together again after being broken up for 5 years or so. And so that was like a reunion tour for us. And we didn't have a new record. We only had that first record. And we didn't make a new record until 2014. So, in that time, in those 14 years, that's basically it's this whole second phase of the band. It's the whole second period of the band was between 2011 and now. So yeah, I mean, we made 3 LPs and toured around the world, and had families and more children and all kinds of stuff. Marriages and divorces and children and attempted murders and all kinds of great stuff.
But were you convicted?
What's that?
Were you convicted of the attempted murders?
I was not the aggressor. I'll put it that way.
So does the fact that you're going to be celebrating the You're a Woman, I'm a Machine album or its anniversary mean that you're going to play the whole album in full or just select tracks?
Yeah. I mean, that's what we've been doing. We did it all last year, starting in April, so about almost a year ago. And we did it all last year, and then Australia, wanted us to come do it there. So we've extended this celebration tour into 2025. They're going to be the last shows in that format. So yeah, we play the entire record from front to back, and then we play a second set of the hits. It's pretty fun. It's been very interesting to the contrast is so stark between the old material and the new material, and we generally finish the record, which ends with kind of it ends with this kind of dance song, funky kind of joke song called Sexy Results, and which we never play live. We played it maybe on one tour in 2015, and it's not really a live track. So, but we play it because we're celebrating this record. It is the final song on the record. And then we go into a song called Nomad, which was the first song from our Outrageous Now record, which was recorded with with Eric Valentine in Los Angeles. And it's one of our more technical songs, and sort of an anthemic kind of metal song. And to go from the scrappy kind of electro clash, whatever the genre was at the time, disco metal thing we're doing, to go into a what could be maybe an Iron Maiden song in a different spiritual realm. So yeah, it's fun to play the entire catalog in that way.
Would be. You raise an interesting point there, bro. Like, when you wrote the album, I don't think you ever would have imagined playing the whole thing live. So when you first had to start learning to go out on the road, like, was there any songs that were really difficult to translate?
Well, at the beginning, when we first started, I was more inclined to write the vocal while we were practicing, rehearsing, and working on material. Whereas later records, everything's kind of written separately. The music's written separately from the vocals, and that's where the challenges happen. And I'm over ambitious vocally. I always think that I have sort of like vocal goals that I have that are um, transient, and I could never quite reach them. So I'm always over ambitious vocally. There's always a few songs on the record that are just uh, temperamental, and so learning those songs, the syncopation, and I've had to sort of do a lot of practice on my own time. Like take it into the into the chamber alone and work on it, so that I'm not exhausting my bandmate, because he doesn't love to play things 10 times in a row.
So can you take us back, bro, and run us through the creative process of that album and tell us back to the musical psyche of Death from Above 1979, I guess, before you experienced any real success in music.
So going back to the first album, you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So we had been playing in a different band called Femme Fatale, which was a 7-piece hardcore, two drummers, two guitar players, keyboard player, a big sound barrage. It sounded like a plane crash. It was like such a crazy band, and 7 people, lots of people on stage. Jesse was the singer. I was one of the drummers. It was Jesse's, essentially his solo records. So he had recorded um, or written these records, and I did some drums on one of them. But they were his songs, his arrangements, and then he put together a live band. So we had this big wild band, and Jesse and I happened to live together at the time, and everyone lived. We had the one other guy in the band lived with us, but he was working, and we sort of had a lot of time to kind of muck about, and we were both marginally employed at the time, and so there was a lot of time to go down to the basement and work things out. And he had written a few songs on bass and drums, just simple arrangements, with the intention that we would start a band called The Gift, that would be him and I on guitar, and a rhythm section, and then a singer, this guy that we knew named Conan, would come and sing. And so he'd written these songs, and he played me the demos in his car, and I thought this is enough. Like, there's enough music here. We don't need to add anything. I think these are the songs. It didn't sound like you needed 2 guys wailing on guitar over top of it. It sounded perfect to me and exciting, and inspired me almost immediately to start writing vocals for it. And so that was kind of the energy of it. It wasn't thought out in a sort of methodical, premeditated way. It was something that just came together, and it kind of instantly seemed more accessible than anything else we had been doing. Seemed like the kind of music that other people would want to hear. Jesse's dad, who's also was a musician, he passed away since, sadly, but he when he first heard our demos for the EP that preceded Your Woman on Machine, he told Jesse, "Oh, you're in trouble now. People are going to want to hear these songs. You're going to have to go play them for people. You're in trouble." So that was kind of the feeling, like, oh, this is actually kind of good. We were deluded enough to think that these were like pop songs, which in retrospect is insanity. But at the time, compared to what we were doing and into, it did seem like that. And the way it played out, once we started writing different songs, we almost broke up even before making the first LP. But then we started writing those songs, and there was something else emerging. The synthesizer came in, and there was a bit more freedom, and the sort of the dance aspects were a little bit more forward on that first record. And we didn't. It was kind of a free time. We had there was a buzz around us, like an excitement from the punk rock kind of scene we came out of. We didn't play for that long in that scene, but there was something different about us that was being observed. And so even though we were, comparatively totally unknown, we still felt like there was some demand out there. That was the feeling. So like when we were working on the record, we expected that people were going to listen to it. We didn't know how many people. We didn't know that 20 years later we would be still playing those songs, but we did anticipate, people sweating to this music at that time.
Nice. Now run us through the album title, mate. Like, is the I'm a machine part referring to a literal machine like a robot, or a machine as in like I can't be stopped, I'm a machine?
It was I don't know what the I'm sure there's a specific word for this, but it was something my girlfriend at the time had misheard. So I played her. We used to record our rehearsals on a little mini disc player through the headphone jack as a microphone, and we had a day of rehearsal. And I came back, and I was really excited about what we were doing, and I showed my girlfriend, and she was listening, and I was just, I don't know what I was singing. I was probably just making gibberish, making space sounds, just kind of filling in space and working out melody and stuff. And she was listening. She had the headphones on. And she said, "Did you just say you're a woman, I'm a machine?" And I thought, no, I didn't. And then I wrote it down right away. That's a really good title. So it was, I give her credit for that. But there was something, I guess, in the cadence of what I was saying, or that she that's what she heard. And I'd be curious to go back and find that disc and see if I could make that out myself at this point.
Sounds a lot like my ex-girlfriends too, mate. They hear what they want to hear.
Doesn't everybody? Doesn't everybody?
That's so true. Now, for the benefit of those whose memory might not go back as far as 2011 in Australia, run us through a typical Death from Above 1979 live show and what we can expect from you.
It's a very tight, heavy. There's a lot of sound pressure, and we have we got a lot of songs, so it's generally a high energy show, and it's a reciprocal show. I think there's something I don't know if it's unique in that it's never happened, but certainly in sort of the standard rock format, there's no front man in this band. There's no front person. There's no singer out front, or lead guitar player. It's just two people, and one of them happens to be sitting, which is me singing. So I feel like the space that is occupied, the energy that is generally occupied by the front person of a band is kind of the relationship, the back and forth between us and the audience, between the music that we're playing and the audience. That's what kind of creates that kind of energy, that focus. It's that back and forth. So, yeah, I mean, it truly depends on the room, obviously, as well. We when we go to the UK, because they're such football fiends, they sing along to not only every word but every bass riff as well, and drum fills. They'll be like da, 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 they kind of go with everything. So it's you can hear it, and it sounds like a football match. So yeah, I mean, what do you guys play? Rugby? What do you guys play down there?
We got
Is there a lot
rugby
of
Australian rules.
Yeah, is there a lot of chanting involved?
No, actually, we don't. They're sort of no, not much at all. Not nowhere near as much as the British.
All right, well, something to maybe consider. Try chanting along.
See if we can get something going for you.
Yep.
Nice. Now, before we let you go, bro, I've started a new segment called Photo Bomb, which basically, before I speak to you, I troll through your social media and I come up with a few photos I want to know a bit more about. And
Okay.
what I've got is this one. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about here, but surely it wasn't that bad that you had to poke your own eyes out.
I can't see that, but oh, okay, yeah. Who knows what he was talking about? I don't know.
Very serious look on his face.
Well, we were at we went to play 3 or 4 shows at the garage in London. Um, the person taking the picture is my wife, and my daughter was sitting just off camera to my right. So I don't know what we were talking about. It couldn't have been too serious because there was a 4-year-old and my wife there, and we were in a beautiful pub eating an incredible meal. So I'm sure it wasn't that
Right.
serious. But we do get pretty serious about most things. But we also have a lot of fun. It just laughing, smiling pictures. Only one in 100 looks cool enough to put in a press situation.
True, right? And I've found this one as well. Like that looks like it was a hell of a time.
Yeah, that is our friend Holt. His name's Nigel Holt, and he has a group called Holt, HXLT, and they were on tour with us opening. And he's an insane. He's break dances and does crazy stuff, spins on his head on stage. Just a super wound up, high energy guy, just like an amazing, radiant person. And he would come up and play our song "Pull Out" with us, which is very high tempo song. Probably the most Bad Brains ish of our songs. And he would come up and sing with me, and then just eject. So that's him ejecting into the audience.
Nice. Do you guys ever eject yourself into the audience?
I don't anymore. Uh, One thing to know is that he is probably 5'2", and and I'm 6'2" or more, and so there's just there's more surface to damage if I do it. The last time I jumped in the audience was, do you know the band Fucked Up from Canada?
I do.
They're heavy band. Yeah, I did a song with them on one of their records, and we were playing at a festival in Montreal, and they were playing as well, and they asked me to come up and sing, and I sang, and then I was like, I'm going to jump in the audience, and I jumped in the audience and did what this fellow is doing here, and when I got back to the stage, I rammed my shin into the stage, but I was still playing the song. So I didn't really feel it. I was like, yeah, and just kept going, kept singing. Then the song ends, and I walk off stage, and instantly the pain just shot through my leg. Like I had that phenomenon called show health. You're just, for some reason, you know, it's rare to just feel hurt on stage, all the adrenaline and whatever. But the second the light was off me, I just, this excruciating pain. And so I don't know. I kind of chickened out after that.
Very cool too. All right, Sebastian. Well, thanks very much for your time, bro. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Death from Above 1979 hit Australia from April 22nd. They hit Brisbane, Adelaide, Melbourne, and Sydney. So check them out.
Yeah. Thanks for talking.